Rowdy Roddy Piper. Later on in this program, I know that you've accepted the challenge of the Tonga Kid, and you're going to be meeting him right here in front of a national television audience. But in the meantime...
He's garbage. He's like where he comes from. Nothing but garbage where he comes from. Same thing with your world's heavyweight champion. You're talking garbage. This guy comes out 280 pounds, and all of a sudden everybody in Boston is standing up and cheering and talking about Hulkamania. Hot Rod walks out, and all of a sudden everybody's booing, thinking Hot Rod ain't going to stand no chance. After all, Hot Rod, he's the only guy. All he's ever done was actually destroy Jimmy Snuka, our legend. All he's ever done is actually destroy Andre the Giant. Unless someone was to sucker me, they could never get an even shot at me. I bounced the world on my little fingertips. And then all of a sudden, Hot Rod goes into Boston, and he becomes victorious. I actually beat the champion, but no, you don't want to give me the belt. No. Let me tell you something, mister. I am the boss. I'm the one that's going back in there for the rematch. Not because I won it. Because the champion wants it. Because I made him look like a fool. They raised my hand. I'm the first man to ever beat the champion. I am the champion. Boston.
Thank you very much, Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Hello, everyone. This is Richard, and I am with Tyler, and this is On the Network. How are you doing, Tyler?
Pretty good today. Pretty good.
Sweet. Yeah, there hasn't been too much wrestling news coming out, but the stuff that has been coming out has been kind of weird, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, last week, Dusty Rhodes passed away. And since then, this is a week later, TMZ released his, the 911 call that his wife called in for the ambulance. And X-Pac, of all people, decided to, write a little thing about it and post it on the internet. And he was like, look, I understand that, that TMZ has posted stuff about me before, and it's totally okay. He's like, I was doing stupid stuff, and I accept the consequences. But on this kind of thing, it's a private matter. It should not be news, and it's not news. It's just there. But it was just weird to see that it was X-Pac, of all people, that, went against him.
Yeah, it's a tough situation because on one side you have, yes, it's a private matter, and it's not only is it a private matter, it's some of the most intimate moments of someone's life, and on the other side of it, you have, yes, we need to keep them public because, so we can hold, whoever accountable if they do something that they shouldn't be doing. I think they need to come up with some sort of law. I don't know what it would be, but some way to restrict it to, family members, and, people who should be reviewing these. It shouldn't get out onto TV, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I completely agree with you. And what's really weird was the Runnels, or the Rhodes family, they released a public statement regarding this, and they were just and they thanked everyone for respecting their privacy during this very difficult time. And it was weird, I saw that, and then I was on Facebook the other night, and first thing I saw, right after I read that, was pictures of people getting out of their cars to go inside the funeral. And I was just this is just awkward. This is not news. It's not a social gathering. It's not like the Oscars. I don't care how people are dressed. I don't care who's really going. It was just a very weird thing to see, them say this. And then right after I read that were these pictures.
I actually know someone who had their 911 call released on the news, and it was rough. It was a tough situation, and I'm sure they would do anything to get that off of there, because that's out there for the rest of their lives. For someone you meet up. They start a new job. Someone decides, oh, I'm going to Google this guy, and bam, that's the first thing they find. Is his story, and they get to hear all that. That's not fair to them at all.
Oh, I agree. Like, it's just really weird. And to kind of go along with this, like, like with the family, like, saying this, I thought that was like really nice. Like, it was like kind words. And then I go on Twitter, and under the name Stardust, aka, Cody Rhodes, he released the eulogy that he wrote for his father. And I was totally okay with that because it was coming from him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't coming from TMZ, or it was like coming straight from the source. And I think that was just something to kind of say, like, thank you to the fans for all your support. And, like, we understand this was a private funeral, so there were no cameras inside. Like, so this is a piece, kind of like something for you guys. And his words were really touching. I'm not going to read any of it, but it was just a really touching thing. Like I sort of like was like quiet after I read it for about a couple of minutes. I was just like, oh, that was really nice.
Yeah, when you're someone as famous as Dusty Rhodes, I'm sure he has fans out there that really truly feel like they've lived their lives with him, and they need closure as well. So it's good that he released that for the people who want to get closure without disrespecting him, like some of these paparazzi or whoever did.
Yeah, and to go more into this paparazzi / clickbait websites, like Gawker, they are about to be going to court on July 6th with Hulk Hogan for a $100 million lawsuit.
Since when is Hulk Hogan worth $100 million?
Since Gawker either released parts of the sex tape that he was in with, I think it was like Bubba the Love Sponge's wife. But Hogan, I guess, was really pissed that they did that. And
so wait, there's a Hulk Hogan sex tape floating out there?
Oh yeah. I'm surprised you didn't know about that.
And this is the first I'm hearing about it?
Yeah, I think it came out around 2012 maybe.
Oh, and, damn, it's been out a while. I mean, I'm not the type of guy who, Google searches, hey, Hulk Hogan sex tape. So
actually, I'm surprised that more people don't do that. I mean, come on, it's Hulk Hogan. And sex tape, like, those are instant things that you put together. You never think Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant. No, you think Hulk Hogan, sex tape. And it was like Hulk Hogan, like old man Hulk Hogan. It wasn't even like 80s Hulk Hogan, like when people, I guess, might have wanted to see the guy naked. It was just, so
God.
Hogan is suing Gawker. Yeah, he's suing Gawker for $100 million. If he wins this, I would not be surprised if you never see Hulk Hogan on WWE TV. He might show up for like a Hall of Fame type thing. He might show up for that last match.
Yeah, $100 million. He's gonna be set for life.
Exactly.
If he gets $100 million, but there's no way he's gonna get $100 million, even if he wins. There's no way they're gonna give him $100 million. He might get a couple million. I don't see it realistically. A judge approving $100 million case, for that. But who am I? I'm not a fucking lawyer, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. And this is the crazy part about this. So, the representatives for Gawker, they're attempting to qualify the release of the sex tape as newsworthy. They're calling this news that Hulk Hogan had sex on a videotape, which he allegedly says that he was unaware that he was being filmed.
Well, I mean, look at it like this. They could spin the angle saying, hey, we wanted Hulk Hogan's fans to know that he's happy and healthy and able to get out there and put 110% into his matches. So we're going to put this sex tape out there to prove that point.
Now, this is when it gets crazy. Part of their argument is based on the fact that Hogan has shown, quote unquote, I have my fingers up in the air when I'm saying this, sexual prowess into the public based on
Okay.
a Rocky III photo shoot when I guess he fondled a woman's breast at some point during this photo shoot. And because he discussed sexually related content in interviews.
So, because he touched some woman's tits
On a Rocky
however many years ago
on a Rocky 3
3,
photo shoot.
it's okay for them to release a sex tape.
Yes.
now.
Yes. That is part of their argument.
Seems legit to me.
Oh, yeah.
I see no flaws in that defense right there.
No. So I have this weird feeling that Gawker might be going away, which I am totally okay with because it is just pure clickbait. But if Hulk Hogan does win this, Gawker might be going away and Hogan might go live his life in Florida and be all quiet. So that would be nice.
They'll settle for $1 million or something, probably.
Yeah, I see them settling for maybe 20 max. Like they'll be like, here's 20 million, whatever, go away, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And further news that has nothing to do with weird paparazzi / website type stuff. July 4th, WWE is going to be having what was just supposed to be just a house show in Japan. And then news came out that Brock Lesnar was going to be appearing on it, I think, versus Kofi Kingston.
Yeah, for sure, against Kofi Kingston.
It has been announced that this will be streaming on the WWE Network and will be up for on demand instantly. So
it's going to be on at like 6 a.m. in the morning, approximately, live.
I have no idea.
Because of the time difference.
I think it'd be funny if they would make them do it at 7 o'clock, like Eastern Standard Time. You know, just like something weird.
Yeah, fuck you, China.
Because
I don't care if it's 2 a.m. over here. We're doing this right now.
Well, didn't they do that with like WrestleMania this year? Like they still made them do it on the Eastern Standard Time. They didn't make them do it like on the normal.
Oh yeah,
California
that's
time.
WrestleMania though.
That's true.
That ruined WrestleMania. It did. Well, I mean, it didn't ruin the whole thing, but it ruined a lot of it because Bray Wyatt's entrance was ruined. Undertaker's entrance was ruined. Sting's could have been better.
And if it was darker, maybe Triple H's Terminator thing could have looked cooler.
Yeah.
I mean, I doubt it. I highly doubt it because that was already at a peak of coolness that nothing can ever reach.
I honestly think, I don't know for sure, but I think the Rock segment was purely to drag out time to see if they can get the sun to go down for Undertaker's entrance.
I have to agree. I really have to agree. That, and I really think, because there were rumors, like whenever all that happened, that's when Roman Reigns found out he wasn't going to be winning the fight. So yeah. I wonder if that time, if like, you know, like Triple H or Stephanie or someone had like a small earpiece in their ear to where they were like, okay, we got that conversation done. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I don't see them like just going, hey, Roman, you're losing, and calling it a day.
Yeah, and they probably had to get some time to rework the match a little bit too.
Right. Even though they had the Undertaker Bray Wyatt match in front of it. So they still had time to work on it, but who knows? Like I think it was like a multiple like thing happening. But I would say it was more or less just waiting for it to get dark.
Yeah. On the other hand though, Ronda Rousey was in it, which makes me feel like it was planned, but they probably dragged it out more than they had to. So, and she's for sure probably going to be at next WrestleMania against Stephanie McMahon, is my guess.
Probably.
Unless they have a tag match, them two versus Triple H and Stephanie.
I mean, it's a definite possibility. But then again, is his name Dana White, I believe? The guy that runs...
Dana White?
Yeah, the guy that runs UFC.
Yeah, that's him.
He's pretty much said no.
It's not going to happen?
Yeah, he was just like, no, she's not going to wrestle in a WWE ring. Because, I mean, if you think about it, if you think of, like, UFC people... I mean, there are some guys that if you throw out names, people are like, oh, I recognize that name. But she is the cash right now for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you say UFC, like, a lot of people just instantly go to Ronda Rousey.
Well, I mean, if she was able to do that at WrestleMania, I don't see why she wouldn't be able to do a match. It's not like Stephanie's actually going to hurt her. You know, it's probably just going to be a squash match.
Oh, probably. It would be something that would be like, they'll make a big deal about, and it'll be a big disappointment.
Stephanie beating Ronda Rousey would be probably the most unbelievable thing WWE would ever do. Just beyond unbelievable.
Oh, pretty much. Oh, and this also happened this week. I came home the other night from work, and I was like, hey, I'm going to watch some WWE Network. You know, watch something for tonight's show. And I go on there, and there's nothing there. Like, it's not working. So I'm like, well, maybe it's just my PS4 connection's weird. Let's check the computer, which always plays it. And nothing. It would just... Like, I would go to WWE Network, and that red screen that, if you go on the computer version of it, there's just, like, that red screen that's in the background, and then they put, like, all the images and clickable stuff on top for their shows, and it was just the red screen for, like, an hour. And I finally decided to go to the WWE Network Twitter page and the Facebook page. People on Facebook are just like, hey... the network's down. And WWE Network did not acknowledge it for like 2 hours the other night. Like, it finally came back up. But it was just really weird because they're saying, like, you know, this is the award-winning network. But they're not... I don't feel like they're, like, taking it seriously. Like, if it goes down, if it's just like a small glitch and you can get it back up in like 5 minutes, that's cool. You don't have to say anything. But when it's down for a half hour, that's when you post, hey, we know something's happening.
Well, you know their stance is pretend it doesn't exist when they have issues. What was it? It was either... Was it the cancel the network on Twitter that was going down around WrestleMania? Yeah, after Royal Rumble. They just pretended it didn't exist. And it went away. Their theory, I guess, for when it went down last night was, hey, let's get it back up. Say, hey, it's up and going good. Fine, guys. And people will, forget about it. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got was deny, deny, deny. And eventually, it might not be 2 years from now. It might not be 5 years. It might even be 20 years from now. If you've never admitted there was an issue, they're eventually going to forget about it and everything will be A-okay. And I think that's what WWE is doing. If whenever it's down, they don't say, hey, we fucked up. They just say, hey, it's up, it's fine. People will eventually, forget about all those things and pay them their $9.99 every month.
Yeah, it was just a very weird thing. Like, because, like, even, like, when PlayStation goes down or Xbox goes down, you do find something out within the first hour of it going down. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
it's called customer service.
Well,
which,
I mean, I wouldn't say
WWE
PlayStation or Xbox are great with customer service, but at least they'll go on their Twitter and acknowledge that it's down.
Yeah.
Like, and some of these messages that they got, I posted on our Facebook page, on the network's Facebook page, and some of them were actually kind of funny. Like, one was, "Hey, network people, get your act together, or at least acknowledge the problem and tell us that that's being fixed. If you want to keep me as a loyal customer, otherwise I will not renew my subscription that is up at midnight." So you have this guy who's really just wanting to watch your programming, and he's threatening to just pull out, which I'm sure they don't care about. That's just one guy. But
which I'm sure will keep the network.
Right. It
because
just
he wants to watch WrestleMania. He wants to watch Royal Rumble. So
yeah. And while we're talking about WrestleMania, or you just mentioned it, so apparently Dave Meltzer has declared that WrestleMania 31 they lost money. According to like their books or whatever.
I heard this too, and it's technically correct, but technically incorrect. Now let me explain. What in the past, WWE has gotten a majority, if not all, of their profits for pay-per-views from selling the pay-per-views, on the pay-per-view channels. Well, now that they have the network, they don't attribute the funds to the pay-per-view in question. So what they did was, say they normally make $10 million off of pay-per-view sales. Well, now with the network, they only maybe make $2 million off the pay-per-view sales, but they make another $8 million from selling the network. So the network funds go to the network, but so in the end, it looks like, hey, the pay-per-view lost money, but in reality, the company made a profit for all things combined.
Exactly.
So,
and
yeah.
also like, think of it this way. How many people before WWE Network was around, there was a WWE 24/7 on demand through cable. How many people were getting that as a regular subscription compared to the WWE
hardly
Network?
any.
And on top of that, how many people would only order? Like, how many people would only purchase the WrestleMania? You might get some of those people that might purchase Royal Rumble, they might purchase SummerSlam, and they might purchase Survivor Series on that long shot. And sure as hell, they're not going to purchase the modern day version of In Your House, aka
Battleground.
Right, like Battleground, Fastlane, stuff like that.
Oh, what are you talking about? They don't want to watch the fast lane to WrestleMania to get the whole story? And honestly, Fastlane is basically
Raw.
all the matches you're gonna see at WrestleMania. WrestleMania was fucking rematches.
Yeah. So, but I mean, think about that. So you get one person who buys, WrestleMania for how much is it? Like $60, $70.
I don't even know. Probably 60, probably closer to 70 nowadays.
Right. So they go out and they spend their $70 one time a year. And something about the WWE Network is it's sort of taking out the live interaction, I think, with fans. Because before, you would go to a friend's house, you would go to a sports bar. I don't even know of any sports bars around here that play it. Well, actually, I do know of like one. And there's a cover charge to get in, plus you have to get food and all that stuff, and you're still going to end up spending like $40, if not more, just on your own. But how many people used to go to their friend's house for pay-per-views? Like, it'd be almost like buying like rounds of drinks where, like your hardcore wrestling fans, like that small group of friends. And
yeah, when I was a little kid, it would be, I think it was $30 for a pay-per-view when I was little, and we would scrape every nickel and dime we could to get that $15 so we could split it with someone and get the pay-per-view.
Right. And at the same time, like, even like the crappy pay-per-views like that Fastlane, before the network, you probably would have met up with a bunch of people at a house and had a social gathering. You know what I'm saying? Like, but now, since the network, I can only think of maybe 2 or 3 times that's actually happened. You know, where people like, hey, let's all get together for this pay-per-view. And it's for those big ones like SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and Survivor Series.
Yeah, I wouldn't even count Survivor Series. That pay-per-view's gone down the shitter.
Well, the last one wasn't horrible.
Yeah, it wasn't horrible, but I mean, it's not like it's not on the same scale as the others at the moment.
No. And it won't be ever again. But you know what I'm saying? Like all of those pay-per-views, it used to be like a big social gathering of maybe 4 or 5 friends. You know, you're sitting back, you're drinking beer, and you're yelling at a TV screen with your friends. You're talking about other things, just catching up. But now it's, you know, just pretty much like you, maybe one other person who comes over, who, you know, and you just sit down and you just watch the network. You know, it's like, it's a very different atmosphere.
Yeah. It's you just pop it on whenever you have time. Like, there's no excitement to be like, okay, I need to get home and watch, you know, get on at exactly 7 o'clock to watch this. And it's just like, hey, the Game of Thrones is on, whatever, I'll catch it sometime.
Yeah, exactly. And talking about Game of Thrones, that's actually what this, you know, past Sunday we had Money in the Bank. And I watched the NBA Finals, watched the Cavs lose. And then
Which was a heartbreak. I mean, yeah, Golden State, they deserve a win, but I think Cleveland deserved it just as much, if not more.
Oh yeah. Just because Cleveland needs it, I think.
Yeah. We 52 years now. It's been since we won a championship. Longer than any other team that has 3 professional sports teams or more.
Yeah, and honestly, I watched Money in the Bank that Monday morning. I watched the NBA Finals, and then I went and watched the recorded Game of Thrones and whatever else was on HBO that night, like John Oliver and Silicon Valley and Veep. Like, I was like, yeah, I'm going to watch this stuff. Like, I actually care. You know, it's like there's like no sense of urgency for me to watch Money in the Bank live.
Yeah.
Compared to, you know, what it used to be maybe even 3 years ago. It's a very different world that they've built for themselves.
I had high hopes for Money in the Bank. I did. Do you want to just review it real fast?
Yeah, let's get that done.
All right. So let's see. We started off. I didn't write it down, but I think it was R-Truth versus
Barrett.
King Barrett. And I think, first of all, let me say that my predictions for Money in the Bank were way off. I don't think I got a single one right. Maybe New Day keeping the titles. Or no, wait, they didn't even keep the titles.
No.
I don't think I got a single prediction right. But anyway, so King Barrett loses to R-Truth.
I got that wrong.
Yeah, I think I picked Barrett as well. But it was the only good thing about this match was the following night on Raw when R-Truth came out in the Ghetto King outfit with the plunger, and then he sits in commentary, and like he's on the commentary team for the match, and then Barrett comes out, and R-Truth says, "Oh man, he looks mad. I'd hate to see who his opponent's gonna be." And JBL's like, "You know you're in this match, right?" So I don't know. I thought that was funny, but besides that outcome, it was whatever. I mean, Barrett is basically king jobber at the moment.
Yeah,
And
that
then,
was expected, actually.
And then they started the night off with the Money in the Bank match, which I guess they have to do because it gives whoever wins time to rest up if they want to go for the title at the end.
Right.
But I don't know. This match was not that great. It was basically 1v1 matches, just a revolving door. Like, one person would get hurt, roll out the ring, another one came in. One person would get hurt, roll out the ring, another one come in. And that was the whole match. There wasn't too many like good multi-person spots.
It almost felt like a tag team, like a trios tag team match in Lucha Underground. You know what I'm saying? Because like their tag rules are like a little different, and that's what it almost felt like to me. It really had that feel of, okay, this guy rolls out, I could roll in. You know, like it was just not a great match at all. And that outcome, Jesus Christ,
Sheamus?
I did not pick him to win. I picked Ziggler.
I did not. I think Sheamus would have been I think I would have put Kane over Sheamus. I think Sheamus would have been dead last on my prediction, if I remember right. But what are they going to do with Sheamus?
I don't know. Who's he even in a feud with right now? Maybe Ambrose?
No, Randy Orton. Just a random feud for no reason.
Yeah, wow. Thank you, WWE, for giving us something new once again.
And I would like to point out that out of the 6 matches, I think 4 ended with a screw finish.
Oh yeah,
which includes the Money in the Bank because Wyatt interfered and costed Roman Reigns the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, and on top of that, like Wyatt, that was kind of cool, I guess, just because it sets up something for Roman Reigns. Because really, since WrestleMania, he's just been kind of there. You know, and it's really weird to see. And believe me, like
I've never liked Roman Reigns more than when he's just Dean Ambrose's buddy that just helps him out. That's what he should stick with. But they need to get him on his own, though.
Yeah, sort of. But I mean, it's just such a weird fall for that guy. If you think about this. So, like, last year at the Slammies, he gets the Wrestler of the Year award or whatever. And he wasn't even there for a decent amount of that year. And then Royal Rumble, he wins. And WrestleMania, he loses. And, I mean, he's the guy that lost that match. He was the one that was pinned by Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much since then, you've just seen this really, really awkward spiral, like downward spiral for this guy. How he was really like the chosen one. You know, he was like the Samoan Cena, and now he's still with that weird Samoan Cena persona, like he can do no wrong. Mm-hmm. And the fans are starting to react a little better to him. But that's the guy that should have been the champion.
He'll get his shot again. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not like a Roman Reigns fan. I'm just saying, like, on paper, that's the guy that should have got it. And then he just spirals down to a ladder match and loses to Sheamus.
Yeah.
You know,
I think like, anyone in that match but Sheamus could have had a good story to go with it. I mean, Kane has the whole feud with Rollins thing going, which is already set up. Neville being a newcomer, that writes itself. Kofi Kingston has the New Day. I'm sure they would have been able to come up with some hilarious stuff with that.
Ziggler just has his wrestling skills.
Yeah, he has the experience. He deserves it.
I mean, and Ziggler's like one of those guys that I feel if he would have gotten the Money in the Bank, they could have had a really great story with him, dating back to Survivor Series
Has
last
he
year.
won a single match since he's gotten with Lana? Like, if I was Lana and I was with him at this point, I'd be like, why the fuck am I with this bum who loses every fucking match?
No, I mean, he lost to Owens on Monday.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a damn good match, though. That really was, like, I would say the highlight of Raw for me. But
Yeah, that was a good match. And Kevin Owens is gold as usual. That was the only... If you guys watch Raw, skip to the Kevin Owens match, skip to where he powerbombs Machine Gun Kelly off the stage, and then you're done. That's all you need to watch.
I figured...
Well, no, I take that back. Watch the end. Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar, which is only a minute.
Yeah, and this is something else to think about with Owens, because I think is that our next match actually, the Owens Cena.
We can skip to that.
Okay, yeah. So Owens Cena, that was easily the match of the night.
It was the best match of the night for sure.
And on that one, I did say Cena would win. I think you said Owens.
I said Owens. I think I said Cena, but Owens would come out on top with this. It was like a disqualification win.
Right.
But, I mean, I sort of had it right. Yeah, Cena won, but, the disqualification wasn't until after, he powerbombed him into the apron, which he could have done a better job. I think he's not been doing that as well lately because he starts the powerbomb like perpendicular to the ring, so he has to do it at like a weird angle. He needs to do it facing the ring so it lands, nice and clean across the back. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe you get hurt worse for real that way.
Yeah.
So maybe they don't do it that way, but it didn't look like he hit that hard, but who cares?
I mean, that's exactly what he...
Yeah,
and that's exactly what he did to Sami Zayn, like the exact same move after that NXT takeover, I think maybe in December. Yeah, but here's the crazy thing with Owens is, like, think about this. Owens is on the NXT live tour. He fought on Thursday night in Pittsburgh. He goes to Cleveland on Friday night, and he fights. He goes to Columbus Saturday night, and he fights. Sunday night, he gives us that amazing match with Cena. Just that, I mean, really that, like, I can't say much more about that match other than it was just an amazing match.
Yeah.
Monday night, he is fighting Ziggler, and I haven't watched SmackDown yet. I really doubt I will. But on that off chance that he fought on SmackDown tonight, that means that he fought on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
So,
which it's crazy. I mean, you need to give this guy a fucking rest.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. So that's like 6 shows back to back, and the guy
while you mentioned SmackDown though.
What now?
Since you mentioned SmackDown, here's all you need to know about this week's SmackDown and how much care and effort WWE puts into it. Their advertisements for the main event, which was Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose tag teaming against Kane, and I forget who the other one was. It's probably Sheamus. Their advertisements said Dean Ambrose teaming up with Rollins instead of Reigns.
That is amazing. I will check that out in the morning on the DVR.
So yeah, they put a lot of care and effort into it. But yeah, Kevin Owens, John Cena, two of the best matches. Both of those matches were potential match of the year. I think the second one was a little bit better than the first, even though Kevin Owens lost.
Yeah, and I like this because this is actually the first time I've seen in a long time that WWE has almost given you a slow burn. you know what I'm saying? Like, it starts off like they started off the feud the right way.
Yeah.
And
A lot.
it feels like a very organic feud.
A lot of what WWE does lately is, when you have a feud, they either do it one of two ways. Either they talk shit and then they have a shitty match at a pay-per-view and then that's the end of it. Or they, have a pay-per-view match, then they have a rematch on Raw, rematch on SmackDown, rematch on the next pay-per-view, rematch on Raw, rematch on SmackDown, repeat until they decide, okay, these guys have wrestled enough, let's mix it up a little. Which, both of those ways, I don't like. They need to... John Cena and Seth Rollins are doing it perfectly. They're not wasting their matches on Raw and SmackDowns. They're letting them build up on Raw and SmackDown, and then we get the great match on the pay-per-view.
Yeah, and the other nice thing I liked about this is you just mentioned how, like, normally they would give us the let's just go Roman Reigns versus Big Show. Every week it was Roman Reigns versus Big Show, Roman Reigns versus Big Show, Roman Reigns versus Big Show. Every week, and that's including every pay-per-view for a while there. Like, there's like 2 pay-per-views.
The only way to get someone excited for a Roman Reigns Big Show pay-per-view match is you have to have a gimmick, which doesn't always sell on itself.
No.
So.
And with this Owens Cena feud, the first match after that pay-per-view, after this Money in the Bank, it's Owens versus Ziggler. And I was like, hey, they're giving us a break. Like, they're putting someone else up against Owens, who's this obvious monster, in the ring. Like, okay, I'm down. Like, give me Ziggler and Owens any day, and I'll be a happy person, really. But if they keep that up, if they keep that momentum up of Owens just going up against random people, and also in between all of that was still Cena doing his U.S. Open, his U.S. title open thing, and that was cool too. Like, you're getting storylines, and for the first time in, I think, a long time, I'm actually sort of enjoying John Cena on television.
I'm enjoying Kevin Owens being the first true heel that I've seen since I've come back to watching wrestling.
Yeah, and a big thing with his heel is his reason. His whole reason of being a heel is, I want to be a champion. I'm a prize fighter. I'll do whatever it takes.
Whereas every other heel is either, oh, I'm Russian, that's why you should hate me, or, oh, I'm a cowardly sellout, that's why you should hate me. No, you give the people a true... It needs to be... There needs to be some complexity to it to get that next level heat, which Kevin Owens does perfectly.
Oh yeah, and it was great. What were the other matches?
IC title match. The worst match.
Who won that? I'm not gonna lie, I might have hypothetically hit the fast forward button.
Big Show, because obviously Big Show needs to go over. He didn't win the title though because Miz interfered. I don't know why they're setting up a Miz versus Big Show versus Ryback feud, because it was garbage at the pay-per-view. But that's what they're doing. It's ridiculous.
Oddly.
So the match almost worked. The match started off with Ryback doing I think he did the little clothesline he does, then he was about to do the shell shock on Big Show, and I'm like, well shit, if he just destroys Big Show right here, this will be a decent 30-second match. They should have ended it like that. Ryback looks good. Big Show, who gives a fuck about Big Show? And they get to make the IC title look a little bit better. But no, we have to drag this match off. It's another one of the 4 screw finishes of the night, and it just was garbage overall.
Yeah, and honestly, I sort of like Miz with those guys, because Miz is like one of those guys that I'm not a huge fan of, but I do see potential every now and then from him. You know, and if anyone needs that potential rub, it's Ryback. I mean, he's gotten a lot better, you know, over the past year. But overall, I still don't care about the guy.
Yeah.
And if you throw the Miz in there, who's at least semi-decent on a microphone, you know, like, at least we'll get something out of this, maybe. And maybe Big Show could kind of get pushed away again. Put him with Kane or something, then I could fast forward that. But
yeah, anyway. The tag title match, Primetime Players won the titles. I was a little surprised by this, but we'll see how that goes. They've been doing some funny promos, so I'll have to give them a chance. I didn't watch the match too well. It wasn't catching my interest too much, but I don't know. What do you think about that one?
It was what it was. It wasn't like one of those matches that I'm like, I need to watch this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a match. Whatever.
And then after that, we got the Divas title match. I want to say that this storyline they're doing where it's Paige versus the Bellas, and they're setting the Bellas up to be like these, basically the authority for the women's division, and she's trying to rally all the other divas behind her. I sort of like where they're going with this. Could lead to something down the line, but it's hard to say. I feel like it might just all end how most WWE storylines end, where it's like they build it up, and then next thing you know, it's fucking Paige is fucking doing something random with Naomi, and the Bellas are just and then it just disappears.
I think this actually has more behind it than I've seen an actual Divas thing in a long time. Maybe I'm just being really, really hopeful. But I just have this weird feeling because, like, on Raw, like, you know, Paige is trying to get people behind her and no one's helping her. I just have this weird feeling if they keep going down this path and Paige keeps...
Charlotte?
Yes. We might see Charlotte come out. You know, like, maybe something like that. Like, that almost makes sense if they keep going week after week. And week after week, and we get this feud going of Paige and the Bellas, and finally, just out of nowhere, Charlotte appears. And they could really sell this without Charlotte ever showing up for about a month. All they have to do is show Paige talking to someone and have that other person off camera at all times.
Here's how you save the Divas division. 4 horsewomen, plain and simple. They need to get those 4 up eventually together, and they just need to destroy everyone else. And by the 4 horsewomen, if people don't know what I'm talking about, it's Bayley, Charlotte, Banks, and Becky Lynch. They've sort of been teaming up here and there on NXT. They've been throwing the 4 horsemen sign. Becky Lynch had a match against Banks, and when it ended, they both threw up the 4 horsemen sign, even though they just finished a match together against each other. So there's something going on with that, which hopefully leads... It could just be a sort of behind-the-scenes camaraderie thing, but hopefully it leads to something bigger, because all 4 of them are amazing, and if they came up and turned the Divas division around, that would be amazing, because women can put on some great matches. We've seen it with Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Becky Lynch, Bayley.
Emma and Paige on NXT, that was some amazing matches between those 2 as well. I mean,
but
yeah, like,
the match itself was good, though. I wouldn't say good, but for a Divas match, it was good.
Yeah.
For WWE Divas match, not NXT. They gave him more time. I think they gave him like 11 minutes, which is double what they usually do. And the match sort of seemed like it was going somewhere. It had a story behind it. It was another one of the 4 screw finishes.
I
that whole thing
hated that ending. Like, it didn't make sense to me how...
They should have gave Paige the DQ win instantly when it wasn't Nikki in the ring.
Right, like, Nikki gets the belt. Like, she gets to keep the belt because, you know, she's the champion. But Paige should have got the win. You know, like, it made no sense to me why they did it that way. And really, where the fuck are they finding these refs? And I also really hope that none of these refs are driving.
Because, I'll tell you where they found the refs. The NBA Finals are over. They must have got them from there.
Yeah, I mean, these refs, like, I really hope they're not driving. Because they'd be like, oh, that was, like, the ref will be like, oh, that was a squirrel I just hit. And you, like, look back and you just see some, like, old woman.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, it's all right. I hit a squirrel. It's like, what the hell? Like,
he gets pulled over and the cop's like, oh, you were speeding. He was like, oh, well, I was only going 40. It's like, you were going 400, sir.
Like, Twin Magic in that match doesn't work. Like, the way how Twin Magic originally worked was both girls looked the same and they had the same hairstyle when they, you know, introduced the idea of Twin Magic. Yeah. This one, Brie comes out from under the ring and, you know, she gets pinned by Paige. And then Brie's like, oh, I'm not Nikki. No shit, your hair's pulled back. Nikki's isn't. Although, actually, I think it was. I think she did pull her hair back at one point. But
yeah, it doesn't make any sense because if she doesn't get the pin there on a roll-up, which is a very common occurrence, you're not going to get a win on a roll-up. What is she going to do? She can't just continue the match.
Right, and also, then Brie decides that she's going to pull out like all of this tissue paper, like from her sports.
Like that was thing. Really the telling difference.
And I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking, okay, I get it. Nikki got a boob job. We get it. But then I'm thinking, wait, you guys make how much money, and you're using tissue paper? Like, WWE couldn't go out and buy, like, the weird, like, silicone things that you just put in the bras? Like, no, we're just going to give you guys tissue paper.
I don't know if you caught it, but at the end, Nikki grabbed the tissue and was, like, pretending to cry, like, making fun of her like that. So maybe they thought that through. But I'm probably giving them more credit than they deserve.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like the whole ending. It didn't... I don't know.
And then I think our last match would be Rollins versus Ambrose.
Which, I gotta say, it started slow. Overall, it was
slow.
A good
doesn't
match.
Even begin to describe that start.
It was a good match, but I don't know if you noticed, but the crowd, there was only one match I heard any chants or the crowd into the match at all, which was Kevin Owens versus John Cena. Every other match, including the title match, the crowd was dead. I heard no chants. I heard nothing. I didn't notice the other matches because, you know, they're not that great. But for a title match, you think they would be into it, you know? There would be some chants, you know, Ambrose, go Ambrose, fuck Rollins, something. But I don't know. And it just proves how good Kevin Owens and John Cena are doing right now is because somehow they got this crowd who didn't cheer any other match to really go above and beyond to cheer for them.
I can't really blame the crowd on this one. It was a long show considering. The match did not have a strong start. Like, whenever the match actually did pick up steam and it became an actual good match, the crowd did start getting into it. You know, it's like I can't blame the crowd for not cheering when you're being fed shit. You know, it's like really, like, do you really think the crowd is going to go crazy over a Ryback Big Show with Miz? It's like the crowd's not going to do that.
Ryback had a solid gold line the other day where Miz got thrown at him, and he's like, "I got Miz all over me." But another thing that Kevin Owens John Cena did that I haven't heard, maybe I just missed it, but when the crowd was chanting "Let's go Cena," every other time it's Cena sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go Cena, Cena sucks. But the crowd said, "Let's go Cena," and then the other half said, "Fight Owens, fight."
Yeah.
So this is the first crowd I've heard that their love, or I wouldn't say love, but their appreciation for Kevin Owens outweighed their hate for John Cena.
It works.
I thought that was interesting. But yeah, the WWE title ladder match was a screw finish, even though it was, we're going to know who the true champion is, because whoever grabs the belt is the true champion. Well, you both grabbed the fucking belt, so who's the true champion?
Right. Yeah, it's... but that screw finish kind of put it off. You know what I'm saying? Like, it should have been... It's the championship. Start treating it like the championship.
Dean Ambrose's face afterwards looked like a Cleveland Cavalier fan. He was so defeated.
Yeah, I mean, it's the championship. Start treating this thing like the championship. Come on, guys. Come on.
I'm glad to see Brock Lesnar back. I just want him to destroy some people for however long. That's really what I'm looking forward to.
Oh yeah, I think that's gonna be a nice thing.
Well, that was the pay-per-view. I gave it a 3 out of 6 overall.
And real quick before we jump into a break and get on with the rest of our show, on our Facebook page, I asked a question and got one response, which really isn't bad considering, we're still a new podcast and it's still a new Facebook page. I definitely suggest everyone to go over there and hit the good old like button on the network, on the Facebook. So the question for this week's show is, who would be the Mount Rushmore of managers? Glenn Schneider, who is a fellow podcaster and also starting out a podcast called Talking About Podcasts. He answered with Heenan, Heyman, Blassie, and Hart. He pretty much nailed it, like, in my head. I would think maybe Miss Elizabeth might get on there, just because of the impact that she had to the wrestling world itself. Because before then, like, you didn't have, like, that classy woman on wrestling television. So, like...
Say his four again?
Heenan, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Paul Heyman, Blassie, and Jimmy Hart.
I would only make one change. Instead of Blassie, Paul Bearer.
Bear would be a great choice.
That's just because I'm Undertaker fan for life, but overall it was good. Good choices.
Yeah, and Blassie's like one of those guys that it's a shame that he's not around right now. Because I think like the wrestling audience today would really get behind this guy. He would get the crowd so riled up and just hate him that he would go and he would do a match like once a year where he would actually fight. And that was a guaranteed sold out event. Because the crowd just hated this guy and they wanted to see him destroyed. And once a year he would get in the ring, do his thing. That guy, he was amazing on the mic.
I really don't see why the WWE doesn't love managers anymore. They, if done correctly, they have potential to really sell matches. Like, look at Paul Heyman. Like, without him, there would be no WrestleMania. He sold WrestleMania.
Exactly. And Paul Heyman's one of those guys that he doesn't call himself a manager. He calls himself an advocate.
Which I fucking hate.
He actually explained it on, I think it was a Stone Cold audio podcast, like a while back. One of the many times he was on it.
I think I actually heard that, but just the way he says it over and over and over. It's like, okay, we fucking get it.
He says it,
I don't know.
But like the way how he says it, you're supposed to hate him. You know what I mean? Like
well, it's working.
I mean, Paul Heyman, he has Wrestling Psych 101 down. He is like the professor of wrestling psychology right now. And like his reason of saying he's an advocate is he's not a manager. You know what I'm saying? Like, he does kind of more than what a normal manager would do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's definitely a different setup. And, you know, Heenan, that guy was gold on the mic. Like, whenever I saw him on TV as a kid, I didn't like him. But, you know, because he was always like that heel manager when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But, damn, he was good. But, yeah, I think I would have to agree with you with... I think I would take out Jimmy Hart for Paul Bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, like...
One of the two. Heyman for sure, and probably Heenan for sure, too, though.
Yeah, and I think Jimmy Hart is the weak link out of those four choices from Glenn. It's, I mean, he was good. But if I had my chance or my choice between Paul Bear or Jimmy Hart, give me Paul Bear. Instantly.
Yeah.
Just give me that nice high-pitched squeal and let him say some random ass shit. It would be great. But,
Paul Bearer did have it easy, though, as manager. I mean, you're fucking managing The Undertaker and Kane, two of the most intimidating wrestlers there is. He didn't even really need to sell too much. But overall, he was a great manager.
Yeah, it's like he didn't need to sell too much, but he sold a shitload.
Yeah.
You know, and he definitely moved storylines.
Yeah, he did play a big part in a lot of the storylines. He wasn't just there on the sidelines always.
Yeah, and especially during that time when Kane wasn't talking, he was needed.
Yeah, true.
You know, like, yeah, I would definitely take out Hart and put in Bear. He definitely deserves that.
One last thing before break. Father's Day this weekend. So, for those of you who are listening to this after Father's Day and you forgot to get your father a gift, sucks to be you. Should have listened to our podcast sooner. Were you getting your father anything, Richard?
Yeah. I don't know what yet, though.
I told my wife what I wanted for Father's Day, which would be The Witcher 3 or Fallout 4, which is not out yet, but it was announced. And she said, "What are you talking about? You're going to get a $5, $10 gift. It's only Father's Day." And I thought to myself, well, I'll remember that come Mother's Day. and then I said, you know what I want for my $5 then? Go to GameStop and put $5 down on Fallout for me. Which, translation, I'm going to get a fucking bag of candy and maybe a fucking card from Hallmark. But it is what it is.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, once your kids get older, you'll start actually getting real gifts.
Yeah, ties and cups and shit. We'll see.
Oh, yeah. Well, like when I say older, I mean, like, you know, like in their 20s, late teens, when they actually have money of their own. You'll actually start seeing some, like, real gifts pop up every now and then.
I mean, I'm not too worried about it. I'm just looking for an excuse to get Witcher or Fallout or both.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
Is there anything else coming around the corner? Maybe I could get Witcher for Flag Day, or what else? Fucking
4th of July?
Third Tuesday of July holiday? I don't fucking know. Maybe I'll buy Witcher 3, slap some fucking firecrackers on it, say I got it for 4th of July.
Yeah, I mean, or maybe you should tell your wife that 7/2 is National Witcher Day, and you want to take part in that holiday.
That could work.
Just come up with like some like random day, you know, and just be like, "That's National Witcher Day, honey. I really want this."
Maybe I can just hope for Russia to invade Ukraine already, so I could say, "Hey, I need to get Fallout to prepare for a nuclear apocalypse."
Yeah, she'll buy it. She'll buy that. But yeah, let's do this break thing. And
okay,
cool. We'll be right back after these messages.
Hey, MSR.
Yay, what's up?
Hey, do you like geeky things?
I love geeky things, Chunky Larry.
How much do you love geeky things?
I would say at least a 7.
A 7? That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. You know where you can get geeky things?
I mean, I have a few places on the internet I go to.
Well, the one place you want to go on the internet is geeksoftheindustry.com, because it's got geeks at the beginning.
Oh, that's a good point. Geeksoftheindustry.com, you say. What is that? What is that about? What is that?
Well, you know, it's got a little bit of everything. It's got cartoons, movies, music, video games, wrestling. You know, anything that's geeky that you're into, you'll probably be able to find at geeksoftheindustry.com.
I can watch all of those things?
No. It's a podcast website. You listen to things.
Oh. Ooh, podcasting.
You can download them from the website, or you can, subscribe to one of the shows on Stitcher or iTunes.
What was that website again?
That's geeksoftheindustry.com, my good friend.
I'm going to go right now.
Yeah, sorry, my brother. You've got to get your own.
Wrestling Soup, motherfucker.
Wrestling Soup, motherfucker.
It's Wrestling Soup, motherfucker. Pay attention. Wrestling Soup, motherfucker.
Wrestling Soup, motherfucker. Like, this shit sucks, but I know it's good for me,
Motherfuckers.
He kept on caressing Triple H's cock.
There's only two kinds of men. Ones that have raped and ones that haven't raped yet.
Yeah.
Handy had to go bus flip.
WrestlingSoup.com.
All right, we are back. And let's talk about what we watched on the WWE Network.
The network. Let's see. I watched. We didn't even talk about NXT. Where we went.
Oh, I figured that we would do that during the NXT part of the show.
Yeah, that works. All right, so you want to talk about that first then?
Yeah.
All right, NXT this week was very mediocre for NXT. What do you think?
I didn't think it was too bad.
For what they've been giving us, it didn't seem up to what it's done in the past.
I mean, we got a good three-way tag match, intergender tag match with Enzo, Big Cass, Carmella.
Yeah, that was a good match.
Versus, as Lee likes to call them, the Dubstep Cowboys and Alexa Bliss. Like, that was good.
Let me ask you this. I heard it on another podcast recently, and I really don't know what to think. Men versus women in wrestling. I think my opinion on the matter is I'm fine with it if done properly. Obviously, you can't have your face, John Cena, beating up a woman and consider him still the face. You know,
right.
if the heel Kevin Owens powerbombs Lana off the stage or something, sets up a feud with Ziggler, that makes sense. In wrestling, the woman's not really getting hurt. And it's not promoting violence against women, because as long as you do it right and you have the heel do it, that shows kids, hey, only the bad guys hurt the women and shouldn't be doing it. And if you hurt the women, the good guy is going to come and beat your ass.
Okay, so just the actual, just straight up like normal intergender matches, not WWE style intergender. Maybe something like Lucha Underground or Indies, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I do watch Lucha Underground on a weekly basis. You have girls taking hard bumps a lot, and it is painful to watch. I'm not going to lie, like, because a lot of times the girl is going to be the face. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you already want that person to win, and you don't want to see her take that hard bump. Or, you know, it's like, but I don't want to see, like, the face in a good match take that hard bump if I'm a fan of that guy. If it was just a normal guy-on-guy match. But generally, wrestling is a lot like going to a movie theater, where you just throw belief out the window instantly. You understand that's entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, so like, would I have, if I had a kid and, you know, young kid, would I necessarily have them watch a guy versus girl match? Maybe not. Because, you know, like, they might not understand. If I had a son, he might not understand that you can't just go up and do a suplex to a little girl in his class.
See, I'm sort of on. To me, it empowers. I sort of look at it as it empowering women. Yes, the women they're gonna get beat up, but they're also gonna be dealing out the damage as well. I want my daughter to be able to grow up and see, hey, fucking Charlotte just powerbombed Ziggler off the top rope and won the Intercontinental title match. Women can do things in real life. They can get ahead. Instead of them being just fucking bitches who do nothing but complain about paying their phone bill.
Right. And now that's the other side of things. Like, if I had a daughter and not a son, I would definitely be looking at it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's like a fine line. You know? Because if I have a kid and he's watching wrestling, I don't want to ruin it for him and be like, this is fake, you know? Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, it's entertainment. I get it. Wrestling is something that if I had kids, I would let them watch. I know you let your daughters watch wrestling with you. You know, it's not a bad thing to watch. It's kind of like a family experience. You know, but with that being said, would I also let them watch an indie wrestling intergender match?
Probably not. I'm talking about more of a WWE style. I don't want my daughter to see a man beating a woman over the head with a chair 400 times.
Right.
I want them to see, hey, the woman is... It's a competitive match. It's not like crazy hardcore. You know what I mean?
So pretty much Lucha Underground is like the exact thing that you would want your kids to watch. You know what I'm saying? Because in Lucha Underground, they had, I can't remember what they called it, but it was pretty much just like a big battle royal for Aztec Warfare for the championship belt. And in that match, they had guy wrestlers versus women wrestlers all going for the belt.
Yeah.
You know, and that instantly says this company is progressive. It doesn't necessarily have to be a guy that wins it. There's a chance that a woman could get it. To the point that I want to say Sexy Star was one of the last 2 or 3 people. I want to say 3 people left in the match. It's like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then, like, they have, like, their trios tag team match. And the team that won it is 2 guys and a girl. So, like, that's also really cool. It's like, yeah, you guys are, like I like that empowerment idea that you had. Because I feel that's what Lucha Underground is actually doing. To some degree.
With how it currently is in WWE, when you have these intergender matches, it just doesn't work because So let's say you have a woman in the ring, right? There's only 2 possible ways that they tag out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So the other one woman tags in a man. There's only 2 options. Either the woman they face off and like, oh, you're not gonna hit me, blah blah blah, and then they tag the guy in.
Yeah.
Option 1. So I don't like that. It's like you're stopping the match. Yeah. And then option 2, which happened in the Enzo match on NXT, Alexa Bliss tags in one of the Murphy or whoever, and Big Cass just runs into the ring and takes over. There was no tag, which throws the match off as well because it's like, well, they don't even need to tag if the man gets in.
Right. It's like you guys are faces and you didn't even follow the tag rule.
So, I don't know. But it was a good match overall, though. I mean, I've seen, considering they had to work around the intergender rule, what if they did Carmella and Alexa Bliss in the match at all times against each other in 1v1? And then you also had the tag team match going on at the same time as well against the men.
So pretty much whichever person from that team pins first wins.
I think that would be a better way of doing it.
That would actually be an interesting way of doing it. Because honestly, Carmella is one of those people that she gets a lot of hate, and it's understandable. You know what I'm saying? Like, when she debuted, it was rough. It was very rough, and I'm a pretty big Enzo and Cass fan, and I was just like, oh, cringing. And
she's gotten better.
She's gotten, like, you're seeing improvements with her, and I like that about NXT is you do see people get the time that they need to get better.
Think about the spots they could do. You know what I mean? The men wouldn't even have to hit the women. Cass could just get on his all fours. And Carmella could do a running jump off his back or something. Just endless possibilities with that.
And what the hell was up with Carmella saying bye Felicia?
Is that her real name? I don't know.
I don't know. She was saying bye Felicia multiple times.
Over and over, yeah.
And
that's either slang that I don't know, or it's her real name is my guess.
Yeah, that was just weird. But I mean, overall that match, not bad.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good match. And then I want to say there was a Finn Balor promo.
Yeah, there was. That was the next thing.
Which I really enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, I did too.
It was cool to see them call him Prince Devitt. That was cool.
They were calling him by his first name, which I can't recall off the top of my head for a while there.
Yeah, it was really cool. Becky Lynch is sitting there and she's talking about how she went to the school that he started. And, good old Fergal's over there, and he's just like, yeah, I'm going to start this school. I'm 20 years old. It really made no sense for him to start a wrestling school, because at the same time, he's still fresh.
Yeah.
But he started this wrestling school in Ireland, and Becky Lynch went there, and she's sitting there, and I would say it was a joint promo, because it was a Becky Lynch there for a little bit, because you have Balor talking about, how good she is. And they're showing clips of her from that wrestling school and her indie days, in Ireland. And while they're also showing indie clips from, the good old Prince Devitt clips, did you notice that they showed a clip where he had the Spider-Man painted on him?
Yeah. And there was some other ones that they showed that I was surprised about them showing.
I was really surprised by the Spider-Man one. Because not only did they have to get the rights for, that video itself, I would imagine that they had to get the rights from Marvel just to show it.
I don't think so. I think the responsibility for that would still fall on Insane Championship Wrestling for getting the rights in the first place, if they even got them. So, but I could be wrong on that. Because the footage belonged to the ICW, so I think they would have to have the rights. I don't know.
Yeah, so...
But either way, yeah, I was surprised by that.
But I mean, so like that promo was really good.
If you don't watch this episode and you're a fan of Balor, you definitely at least need to look up this promo.
Yeah, it was really good, and I'm a big fan of them doing this because Balor came to NXT. He didn't really have much of a story behind him. You know what I'm saying? And NXT, it seems like they're humanizing people. They're not all about giving you the kayfabe. Well, I guess that would be
God forbid we actually learn something about a wrestler and get to know them and care about them,
And maybe this is what Triple H meant when he said this is the reality era. It's I'm getting history of this guy, and if I've only seen his matches on NXT, instantly I'm like, wait, he wrestled in another place?
Mm-hmm.
First thing I would do is probably go to YouTube, try to find those matches, and if I'm really into that, there's a chance I might try to find that promotion and maybe buy a DVD if they're selling it. I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Totally okay with that setup. What was the next match after that? I feel like it might have...
squash match between Charlotte and Cassie. Some new woman.
Which really wasn't too bad. I felt like they did a little better job talking about... her name was Cassie?
I believe so. That's what I wrote down.
Yeah, it's Cassie. So I felt like they did a little better job talking about her than the last time they introduced, last week's episode where they introduced the girl from Australia. It's I felt like they were okay, this is this person. She's really trying. It's they kind of gave her the good old blue pants commentary. Just, she's new here. She's trying, blah, blah, blah. She can beat whoever. And it was good. It wasn't the best match I've seen, but I was okay with it.
Mm-hmm. It was alright. And then the only other match was Kevin Owens versus Samoa Joe.
What were your thoughts on this one?
I was not impressed. They hyped it up to be better than John Cena versus Kevin Owens. They made it seem like it was going to be like Samoa Joe was going to be his ultimate, the answer to Kevin Owens, basically. And it wasn't. It was just... It seemed like a lot of their punches were not... They didn't have any energy behind them. It seemed like they were... Especially when the match sort of ended and they were, brawling, it didn't seem like they had any passion behind it. It was sort of like they were winded, if that makes sense.
I think that is called a case of Samoa Joe. I mean...
A case of Samoa Joe.
Yeah, I mean... Samoa Joe is one of those guys that... Can he put on a good match? The answer is ultimately yes. But the next question is, how often can he do that? And before you just get tired of him. It's he was in Ring of Honor, he was in TNA. This isn't his first shot at big time, if you want to call TNA big time. You know, and at least during the time that he was there, it just seems like Samoa Joe's like one of those guys that has a name for himself already established, so it's an easy buck for WWE to sell a Samoa Joe shirt.
Yeah.
You know, that's easy. Why not?
Speaking of shirts, $30 for a fucking shirt?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. At NXT Live when we went, it's $30. It's, I mean, and I wanted a shirt too, but I'm not dropping $30 for a shirt.
Right.
So I don't know, but that was it for NXT on the network, which I gave it a 3.5 overall. What do you think about Live when we went?
Live was amazing.
Live was the best experience I've had at a wrestling event I've ever been to. I've been to WrestleMania, and it wasn't as fun as NXT Live.
Yeah, like, I will definitely say Cleveland has that. They might not be known to be like a smart city, but I think they should probably start getting noticed as being a smart city. You know, like, before the show even started, the ticket said it started at 6, and the show didn't start till like 7:15.
Yeah.
There was an hour and 15 minutes of just a building of fans that were ready to watch some wrestling.
Chance after chance. It was.
Yeah, it was amazing, and some of those chants were really funny. There was that CM Punk chant before the show even started.
Yeah, like one guy started chanting, and the rest of the crowd just booed him out of the building.
Yeah. It was just a weird and not really weird, an excited atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, and they added a little bit more production to this time around at the Agora Theater than they did last time they were there. And they added like TV screens on each side of the entrance ramp, which I thought was kind of funny because they started to play the TV screens, like, you know, like they started playing stuff on them whenever the chants out in the audience started getting really loud.
Yeah.
And I mean, those chants ranged from the Sami Zayn Ole chant to thank you Dusty chants, because it was the day after Dusty Rhodes died.
Yeah.
To that weird CM Punk chant. And then they start playing these videos. And the first video is Tyler Breeze, and Tyler Breeze is really over in Cleveland. He fought against Baron Corbin last time they came through. And it's funny because Tyler Breeze, especially at that time, was like a heel. And Baron Corbin is that guy that you count down and just get out of the ring. And that Cleveland crowd was just like, Tyler Breeze, we're going to cheer for you like crazy. And they started playing this video, and people really kind of quieted down and watched that weird music video of his. And then after that, they played a Dana Brooke video. And that Dana Brooke video got a lot of heat instantly.
Yeah, she's from Cleveland area too, and she got booed all to hell.
Yeah, and
she has some of that fucking X-Pac heat. Like, people seem to genuinely hate her.
And that was just a video. You know, and this is something I also want to say that I thought was weird. Like, whenever we first got our seats, we were sitting down, and there was this lady walking around wearing a Dana Brooke shirt. And I was like, that's weird. I looked at the merch table. There was no Dana Brooke shirts.
Yeah.
And then I saw an older lady wearing another Dana Brooke shirt in a different color. And I was like, where the hell are these people getting these? I had no idea she's from Cleveland. And I'm assuming that they are her family, because even when Charlotte was leaving, she like waved at him.
Yeah, it was a whole row of them. There was probably like 8 of them, all with Dana Brooke shirts.
Yeah, they had a balcony up there, and I felt bad for those people by the end of the night. But
like Dana Brooke and Emma, that match had the most heat of the night probably. There was the kid in the corner who was mentally handicapped, who he got a hug and autograph from every single wrestler. Emma comes out and blows him off. Like, she got booed instantly. And then Dana Brooke came out after that, and it was just they really got heat for that match.
Oh yeah, they did. That show was really good though. It started off with the 10-bell salute for Dusty Rhodes, and I have never been at a wrestling event where they had a 10-bell salute. You know, like I've seen it on TV, and I always assume that they just turn the mics on the audience off. And they might do that on TV, who knows. But I can honestly say, hearing this crowd before anything is happening, the crowd is loud. That announcer guy and that girl that came out, the JoJo for the night, the crowd was loud for them. William Regal comes out, the crowd is loud. And then William Regal is like, we lost, Dusty Rhodes yesterday. And in honor of that, we are going to do the tradition of the 10-bell salute. That entire building was silent, minus those bells. Like,
it was silent.
Yeah, it was eerie almost. And then at the 10th bell, that crowd just erupted into "Thank You, Dusty" chants.
Yep.
And I think that was like one of the loudest pops of the night.
And then they started the night off with Enzo Big Cass versus the Vaudevillains, which was amazing. They cut a good promo at the beginning there, honoring Dusty, and the whole night was full of Dusty moves and ways of trying to honor him. But the Enzo match was great. I would consider it tied for match of the night. It really got me pumped and excited for the rest of the show.
And here's the thing about that match was the wrestling match itself. If I was like rating it as a wrestling match, maybe 3 to 4. If I'm rating it as an entertainment, like a piece of entertainment, it's off the charts. It's like you have Enzo and Big Cass mocking the Vaudevillains. You have the Vaudevillains mocking Enzo and Big Cass. Because like they kicked Enzo down, and one of the Vaudevillains decided that he wanted to shake Enzo's hand. And Enzo's like, no, this is a bad idea. And finally, there was a crowd chant of like, shake his hand. And Enzo did it, and they just shook hands, and then they went back to fighting. Like, it was just like comedic. How often do you hear a chant of chivalry?
Yeah.
Like, it was just like so weird. And it was great though. Because they were just mocking each other, and it was just a great comedic piece. And a great way to start out the night.
Yeah, it was a great match. And then so like every match had its moments like that. You could tell that they were not doing the normal, TV show matches. Bull versus I think it was Jason Jordan.
Yeah.
There was some funny spots in the match. Overall, it was horrible though.
Oh yeah. Yeah, let's not really talk about that one too much. Baron Corbin versus Rhino.
Let's not talk about that one too much.
Yeah, there was a gore after the match was over. That was cool.
That was cool. See, and then we had these 2 matches here which weren't that great, but it was just still the fun and excitement in the air was still good, you know?
Right. And honestly, if that was the TV show with a main event, you would just be like, that was a bad show.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, we got that cool Enzo thing at the beginning, and we got these two boring matches. But then, like, they brought out some divas. They brought out Bailey and Carmella versus Dana Brooke and Emma.
Which was a good match.
I am a huge fan of Baymella.
They set the story up for it too and everything, which they didn't even need to do, you know?
Yeah, and
where it was it's gonna be 2-on-1. Who's gonna come and help you? And then Carmella comes and saves the day, which they could have just started off as, hey, 2v2, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But
that was good, and also Bailey had, it looked like maybe some kind of like cast on her arm.
Yeah, she broke her wrist.
Yeah, and she's still working with it. So, Jesus Christ. And
yeah, she's a fucking trooper.
But I mean, that crowd loves Bailey. And Bailey comes off as someone who's really into the crowd. I have no idea what she's like in real life, you know, but her persona is, I want to make you guys happy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but seeing Carmella come out there wearing the I'm a Hugger shirt really pushed her over for the evening. Like, there was no one booing her. No one.
No one, yeah.
You know, the next back.
She even when she's out with Enzo, she doesn't even get booed as much as she used to, if at all.
Yeah, you just hear people bitch about stuff like, bye, Felicia. Like, that's just weird. The next match was Zack Ryder with Mojo Rawley versus Blake and Murphy.
Which, I'm liking this tag team
with
of
Alexa.
Ryder and Mojo. But obviously they're not going to win the tag titles, which is something I want to talk about. Why in the world are you going to put all the titles on the line on a house show? Obviously, people know there's no way they're going to change the titles. So it basically ruins the end.
It really does. And the last three matches, like after that tag team, every match was a title match. You know, It was just, that was just awkward. Like, it took out the excitement of who could win. Charlotte versus Sasha Banks for the women's championship.
Great match. How many? Okay, what's your prediction for when will we have a match as good as that one on the main roster, if ever?
In the women's champion, like in the women's division or Divas division, you probably won't until those two are both up there.
Which is my thoughts exactly.
I mean, that I am willing to go out on a limb and say that was probably the match of the night for me. It was just
really,
yeah, like the next match I really enjoyed, but like I thought about it more and really just that. Like, they put on a great show. They did. Like, some of the stuff they did looked really painful.
See, women have that flexibility to really make some of those submission holds look really painful.
Oh, yeah. And it was just really good, though. You know, and, of course, Sasha won that because it was for the women's championship. Also, during that match, I don't know what Charlotte did. It might have been an elbow, I think, or something, but like she just did like a quick move, and the crowd, other than me, caught on to it, and there was a "Thank you, Dusty" chant. And she, like, you know, pointed up, like, right after she realized that people were doing that. And it was a really nice little thing in the middle of this.
I think it was Charlotte. Did you say Sasha?
I might have. But yeah, it was Charlotte that did it. And it was just a nice little move. And like a nice little moment there that you would never get on the network.
And Charlotte flashed the Four Horsemen sign at the end.
Yeah.
Saw that. And the main event was really good.
It really was. And I'm going to tell you a couple of my problems with it. It was Tyler Breeze versus Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens, Fatal 4-Way NXT Championship. Seeing a live Fatal 4-Way match is amazing. But my problem with this match was I really felt like Breeze and Finn, they were just filler. Like, I felt like they were filler there for a while. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I see what you're saying.
And it, like really, when it comes down to it, it was really a Samoa Joe versus Owens match with a weird comedic thing happening with Owens and Breeze where they made an early alliance and Owens is telling Breeze what to do and Breeze is doing everything that he's being told to do cautiously. Because, you know, the biggest heel in the company is telling you to do stuff. So, like, like that'd be a cool tag team down the road. It worked, but it felt kind of forced at times.
I don't know. I think you're overthinking it. I thought the match was near perfect, especially for Fatal 4-Way. Yes, Breeze and Balor sort of felt like filler at times, but you needed that. It took the match to a whole nother level.
Oh, yeah.
If it was just Samoa Joe versus Kevin Owens, it would not have been anywhere near as good as it would have.
Right, because then it would have been a case of Samoa Joe syndrome. Yeah. Which actually happened that night. I'm not sure if you noticed this. Samoa Joe would throw a couple punches and it didn't look great. And, you know, it was just stuff like that. Like, Samoa Joe, I think, is still trying to find his groove again. Like, working for a big company and not just indies. There was a moment where, you know, like, this building is going crazy. Like, the audience is loud and they're pumped. And you have Samoa Joe outside of the ring and Kevin Owens gets out there and he throws Joe into the stairs. And you could hear those stairs echo throughout that concert hall. Like, it was loud.
Yeah.
Ballard.
Well, should we bust out the Michael Cole explanation of the stairs?
No. Oh, God, no. We never need that again. Ever.
Are we sure? They put a lot of money into that graphic in the study they put behind it.
They did. Ballard did get a couple great moves off. Like, you know, like he got like that jump from the top rope thing that he does.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of seeing that on
TV.
Yeah, like I'm a huge fan of seeing that on TV, and it's really cool to see that live. Like that just looks like
it looks better live.
It just looks like a painful move whenever he does it for the other guy.
A lot of people have issues with that move. They say, "Oh, he's just landing on his back. He's not really hurting him." Well, obviously, he's not really fucking hurting him.
It just looks cool. You know,
it's different.
That's part of being a wrestling fan is you have to throw belief out the window and you just go for the ride.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if I was in the middle of the fucking ring, I would not want a guy to jump off the top rope and stomp me in the fucking chest.
Right.
Like, obviously, you see how he keeps the move from actually hurting the guy, but who cares? It's fucking get into it, you know?
Now, what did you think about the ending with the quick Owens roll-up pin on Breeze?
Well, I thought the ending sequence was good. I posted on, I think, was it on our website or was it on Facebook? Either one. Somebody recorded it, and they must have been, like, really close to us because it was, like, the same vantage point. Basically what happens is Finn Balor tries to go for his finisher, and Samoa Joe does reverses it, does his finisher. Then Breeze does his finisher on Joe, and then Kevin Owens does his finisher on Breeze, and then beats him. I thought it ended perfectly. Any other way, I mean, it probably wouldn't have been as good. I think they did a good job.
Yeah, like overall, I agree. It was a good match. There were just like a couple flaws. I'm not really holding it against the whole match. That is definitely my number 2 fight of the night. Yeah, but NXT Live is amazing.
And I will for sure be going again.
Yeah, and at the Agora, I cannot imagine being anywhere in that building and going, I got bad seats. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter where you're at, you could throw a ball, like, without much effort onto the middle of the ring. You know, it's like, you're close. It's a very intimate setting.
So what else did you watch this week, if anything?
Oh, I watched quite a bit, actually. I'm just going to get this one out of the way because it's a quick one. The Swerved on the WWE Network, they now have a section when you're looking at the original shows. And I was like, oh, Swerved is on there. Sweet. Maybe they released it early for some reason. Yeah, I thought
that too.
No, it's just a trailer. It's like a quick, 3 to 5 minute behind the scenes look with the director. And Big Show's an ass. That's really what I've decided. He just can't take a joke. Like, yeah.
Not surprised.
Yeah, and that's really all it was just, quick preview of what you're going to get. And it looks fun. It's something different, I guess. It's like a low-budget show that WWE Network can do and put out on a regular basis, I'm assuming. So that's cool.
Anything that doesn't involve them using the same footage over and fucking over, I'm all for.
Yep.
Which is sort of what I watched. Was more reuse the same old fucking footage. Jerry Springer, Too Hot for TV. I watched the Bloopers and Blunders episode. Blunders? Oh, fucking don't even know how to read my own handwriting here. So I watched this, and there was some stuff I haven't seen before. Surprisingly, the first half of this episode was gold. It was very entertaining. Some highlights were, the band that sung the DX song, the original?
Yeah.
I think they're just called the DX Band. Anyway, there was apparently on a Raw or a SmackDown, they sung the national anthem, but they didn't sing it how you should sing it. They sung a metal version of it that was like an alternative metal version of it. And they got booed more than Emma turning down the handicapped kid. Like, it was, the whole crowd was booing them out the fucking building. And they finished it. Not only did they finish it, they sung America the Beautiful version as well. It was bad. And then JR tries to save it and says, only in America there can be this type of freedom of expression, basically explaining why people are booing them. That was pretty funny, though. After that, it surprised me because they're bleeping out all the cuss words. And I thought the whole purpose of Jerry Springer Too Hot for TV was to show us this stuff that we couldn't see on the net, live or whatever. But they bleeped out all the cuss words and nudity and all that, which really killed it.
And what's funny about that is it's all stuff that they showed you when these programs were airing live.
They did. I'm pretty sure they did include some backstage stuff.
Okay.
And stuff that wasn't on TV, like that DX singing that I don't think was on TV. I think it was so bad they cut it. At least that's how Jerry explained that one, saying they didn't air it. And then some of these Mean Gene, there was a section for Mean Gene, because he was just cussing a lot. I'm sure they didn't air that.
I mean, the guy was probably hammered.
Yeah, but there was a clip of him on Tuesday Night Titans, which you may see if you keep watching that. Just dressed in fucking like a metal outfit, like with spiked mohawk and shit. You'll see that, but that was funny. There was a clip of Psycho Sid. He's doing a promo with I guess there was a manager there. I forget who it was, but JR is running the interview, right? And Psycho Sid, fucks up, and he's like, "Oh shit, can I restart?" And JR's like, "We're live, pal."
Yeah, they've played that one on so many things on there.
Yeah. So I haven't seen that one, at least not in long enough to remember it. But the first half was really good. It was a lot of like backstage stuff, things that are funny, that you might not have seen before. But then after that, they got into they were considering wardrobe malfunctions bloopers. So there was a section of Sable tits popped out. There was a clip of Lita versus it might have been Trish or someone, but Lita's like brawl was sort of coming undone or whatever, but obviously it didn't. Otherwise, they would have put the Too Hot logo over it.
Did they show the Lita Edge live sex thing?
No, they didn't show that. They showed Jacqueline on top of what's his name's shoulders.
Yeah,
and her popped out. But it was all bleeped out. But the first one they showed was the Lita versus whoever, and there was nothing bleeped out that match, so there was no wardrobe malfunction. So why is it a blooper?
Yeah, because if I remember right, like most of Lita's matches, she would kind of like her bra would end up showing no matter what, just because of like the shirts that she would wear.
Well, it was like a brawl and panty match, and she was in a brawl. Like, I guess her shirt was taken off, so she only had her brawl on.
It's the only way that they could get Lita on there without rehashing the live sex segment.
But that whole second half almost pretty much ruined it. The first half was funny, had some new stuff I haven't seen before. I would have gave it a much higher rating if it wasn't for that second half, which you basically don't even need to watch. I gave it a 4.5 overall.
Let's see. What else did I watch here? Oh, I did watch another episode of WWE The List. This one was shocking title changes. This is kind of sad. This was actually kind of rough for me to watch for most of it. It was, I don't know, like I was probably just distracted doing other stuff, probably reading Garfield comics or something. But just a quick rundown. They went over the Cena versus Lesnar SummerSlam match. And they're like on the show, like they have like other wrestlers talking about, these matches and the importance of them or whatever. Miz is like, some people might say John Cena is an underdog. And instantly I was like, wait, what? Who ever thought John
Cena
their
right mind
is the underdog?
John Cena.
Yeah.
That's it.
But I mean, I do remember that SummerSlam match. And I'm not sure if it's so much as a good match, but it's just fun to see John Cena just being a ragdoll. Just suplex after suplex after suplex after suplex. Like Roman Reigns did not go to Suplex City. Like I would say John Cena would be the mayor of Suplex City and Roman Reigns just like the sheriff or something. It's like Cena just took so many of them. Because it would be German suplex. Oh, let's change it up. F5, German suplex. And it was good. And apparently, if Lesnar's laughing, that means that he's not trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I got out of that. They actually said that, and I was like, no, he is trying. He is doing multiple suplexes. If anything, that's the guy that should be worn out, not John Cena. Yeah, so then the next one was Goldberg versus Hogan. Yeah, Goldberg versus Hogan. That was a title change at one point. Triple H versus Jeff Hardy for the IC title. That one was kind of interesting. Matt Hardy ran in whenever, Triple H did something to the ref, and Matt Hardy jumped in, hit Triple H with a chair. Jeff Hardy pins him. He gets the IC title. The next one I found to be pretty interesting. China versus Jeff Jarrett for the IC title. And this was a newer interview with Damian Sandow. And he says China was the flag bearer of women entitlement. That actually blew my mind just to see WWE recognizing China in a positive light after, all of that stuff that's happened in the past 6 months to a year with China, let alone her porn career and all of that stuff. It was just a very weird thing to hear someone say about China on a WWE show made in 2015. China won that one. Let's see. Giant versus Hulk Hogan in WrestleMania 3. That one was really not too bad, I guess. It was like the segment wasn't that bad. I'm not saying the match wasn't bad or whatever. I mean, that was a great match. That's pretty much what built Hulk Hogan to the level that he's at. You know what I'm saying? He's still riding that wave. Or at least in his head he is. And they gave you the weird history, and that was kind of cool. And then Miz versus Orton. Miz was a Money in the Bank winner, and I kind of tuned out during this whole thing whenever they were talking about it. But they were talking about the fan reactions, and there's a girl that they call the Angry Miz Girl. And I want to see her and the guy that was there whenever Undertaker lost versus Lesnar. Those two people should just meet up at some time. Her face was amazing. And just her reaction. People did not like Miz, and they were really mad that he became champion. And, so, that was the show. And then at the end of every show, apparently they're going to give you a quick, 60-second clip of another one that should have probably been on the list, but wasn't for some reason. And this one was Mick Foley versus The Rock on Raw. And the story behind this is the Raw was pre-recorded. And
is this the one where Bischoff announced the winner in advance?
Yeah, it's that one. So that was cool, and I think I understand why they gave it only 60 seconds, because if you go through the WWE Network, they talk about this a
100
lot.
fucking times.
It's on the Monday Night Wars. It's probably on the Mick Foley special. I can't remember off the top of my head. You know what I'm saying? Like this thing gets mentioned a lot. But yeah, I mean, I would rate this maybe a 2. And I have a feeling I'm going to continue watching this crap every week until they stop, putting it out. they take that season break. But something else that was really interesting about this is the description for this show was something like you can't Google this.
Huh?
Yeah, the description is not everything can be found on Google. Shocking title changes gives rank to some of the most OMG title matches of all time. Okay, so you know what I do? I go on Google. I hate to tell the WWE, the list description writers, that can be Googled. Google it, everyone. It's going to be a lot better than watching this piece of shit. And you don't have to hear bad commentary from people that don't, I don't know, like, I feel like the commentary on this one, like the weird interview clips that they threw in, seemed just ingenuine. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could tell, like, some of these guys just, they didn't care. Like, it's just kind of like, okay, well, you're making me do this, whatever. You know, and just Google it. And apparently also this was part of their countdown. Another show that they have, it was a countdown poll. So WWE list seems to be taking over for countdown. So now they don't have to show us 10 things. They could just show us 5 things and call it a day.
Wow. I actually enjoyed some of those countdowns, so I'll be sad to see that go like that.
I have a feeling it'll come back. You know what I'm saying? Like, the WWE list has higher production, but the same kind of interview clips. And, but you could tell, like, there's, like, a higher production value to it, like, extra graphics that you would not see on the countdown show. So, yeah, I have a feeling it will probably come back, probably during the fall, and this will be, like, the spring, summer version of it. Which, if that's the case, I'm okay with it, because it seems like they're going to be going with some weirder topics on the WWE list than they would on Countdown.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll pull some of the same shit and be able to reuse it just because it's on a different show.
Yeah, and did you watch anything else?
No. I do have one funny thing to talk about, though. Have you heard of hashtag Tomspiracy?
Hashtag what?
Tomspiracy?
No.
Okay, so there's Tom Phillips. You know who Tom Phillips is? He's one of the interviewers for WWE.
Okay.
So there's a conspiracy revolving around this guy, Tom Phillips. And they started a hashtag movement on Twitter revolving around it called Tomspiracy. Well, basically what it is nobody can determine his true height, because when he interviews Ryback, he's like 5 inches shorter than Ryback. But then when he interviews Dean Ambrose, he's like the same height as Dean Ambrose, even though Dean Ambrose is the same height as Ryback. So every interview, he's a different height, because depending on the wrestler, he either needs to squat down and make himself look short, so that, like, if he interviews Roman Reigns, got to make Roman Reigns look strong, so he'll be like fucking 10 inches shorter than Roman Reigns. So the guy's basically sitting on his knees, whereas he fucking interviews someone not like Seth Rollins, he'll be fucking taller than Seth Rollins. Like, it's pretty funny to see all the examples that are getting posted about this guy. Like, the way he squats to do this is pretty funny as well, but you should look it up. There's some pretty funny examples.
That's just so weird. I mean, it makes sense, but I cannot imagine Gene Okerlund doing that. You know, like, Gene Okerlund would just be like, I'm not squatting for anyone. I'm already short, but I'm not squatting. Like, no. no, just no. Like that's just such a weird thing that they're doing now.
Yeah.
It makes sense for them to do it, but it's just weird. Like, when I say it makes sense, I mean, it doesn't surprise me.
WWE does a lot of minor things to manipulate you. They edit the volume of the audience. They edit the volume of the commentators and in ring. What the announcers say, like the height of the wrestlers, that changes depending on what they want. For example,
where the wrestlers are from changes.
Yeah. For example, Seth Rollins, they undersell his height always. They make him seem to be this little short guy when in reality he's as tall as Triple H. So they do all this stuff, and some of it works, some of it doesn't. Some of it just annoys the hell out of you, like this Tom Phillips. It's like, come on, just fucking interview. There's no need to squat. But I don't know. It's weird seeing all the things, like especially when you catch it. Like, why are you doing that, WWE? But I don't know. Some of it has been proven to work, like you were saying about changing the city. When they're in their hometown, they change it to their hometown and they get that big pop.
Yeah, a perfect example is Dolph Ziggler. Forever he was from Hollywood, Florida. The second that he walks into the queue in Cleveland, he's from Cleveland, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
It's just weird. And then the very next night on Raw, he's from Hollywood, Florida again. It's like, wait, what? How is this guy from two places?
He has two houses. He's rich.
Yeah, I guess. I also did watch the Tough Enough competition special on the network, and I actually really enjoyed it. It was sort of like the just get rid of the fat type thing. Like they started off with 40 people, and they had to cut it down to 12 or 13 people, 14. I don't remember the exact number.
So what's it? Half women, half men?
Yeah, I think so. And
so probably like 7-7, maybe.
Yeah, something like that, or maybe 5 or 6 women compared to the, upper men.
More men. Yeah.
But yeah, like overall, I liked it. There was a guy that's from Lakewood, Ohio.
Did they say they're going to be one women winner and one male winner? Or is it just going to be one overall?
I think it's just going to be 2 winners. I have a
2 winners, one man, one woman?
I have a feeling that's what it's going to break down to. But there was some twins. And they were going to try to both win. And it was not out of the possibility for them to do it.
Okay.
As a tag team. So that was kind of cool.
So they made it sound like, hey, there could be 2 men, but realistically, there's going to be 1 man, 1 woman.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Let's see. Highlights of this thing real quick. There was a guy on there that I knew that they weren't going to move him on to the next round, which is kind of a shame. This guy was a military guy, and his Humvee got hit, and long story short, he lost his leg. So he has like this prosthetic on, and he was doing all the moves that all these other people were doing.
Yeah.
And like whenever he was talking, because like Billy Gunn, like they're showing you like clips of the interview process where it's Lita, Billy Gunn, I can't remember all the guys that were up there. The other guy, Booker T. It's like these 3 in there asking him. Billy Gunn's like, so why do you think you're why you should be a WWE superstar? Like what do you have? And he gives like this whole story of him losing his leg to where he is today. And Billy Gunn's like, well, you are probably the toughest person I've ever met in my life. Like it was really good. And to see this guy do stuff, I was like, that would be interesting, to see him wrestle. And
that sort of kills it for me right there, because what they're trying to sell the show as is, are you tough enough to be a wrestler? When in reality, the show is, do you have the charisma, the mic ability, the looks to be a wrestler?
Right. Yeah, and they did talk a lot about that stuff. This is a huge complaint I have about the show. So this happened to 2 people, I think. It might have been more. I don't know, but so the guy from Lakewood, he's on there and he gets winded or something, but he's like a weight guy. His body doesn't look like he does a lot of exercise. He looks like one of those guys that, he looks average. His body type, and he's like sitting there saying how he's like a heavy weight lifter guy. I'm looking at him, I'm like, I don't believe you, but that's cool. This guy, he goes into training and he gets winded again, and they send him down to the doctors, like the medical staff, and they're like, you have an irregular heartbeat. And they instantly call the ambulance. He goes away. And that's it for him, because he's not healthy enough to do this. And then this happened again to a girl later on in the show. And I'm sitting there, and while I'm watching this, I'm like, wouldn't they do all of these kind of tests before you even make it this far?
It's just, it's all fucking work.
Yeah.
How to get rid of them without them looking bad.
It's like, like we're going to build the drama up on these people. Like I get it, but I was just thinking, how stupid is this for a company to even let people in if they're not passing the medical exams from the get-go? Like, if I was that kind of company, would I want to risk having someone just drop dead because of an irregular heartbeat or have a heart attack in the middle of the ring?
Yeah, that's like fucking Ultimate Fighter letting someone into the fucking ring that has never fucking done. His only experience is, hey, I played UFC on PlayStation 4.
Yeah,
and he gets fucking murdered.
Exactly. Like, I was just sitting there, and that's all I was thinking about was, you guys are saying, you guys are showing your medical staff over and over again. And all I could think is, your medical staff really sucks. If they originally let these people in there, and keep in mind, there's no fighting involved. This is just workout inside of a ring. It's, like a lot of running, a lot of bouncing off ropes, a lot of jumping.
Well, what I think they're doing is giving the wrestlers and the audience the true WWE medical experience, where it's, we're not going to do anything to help you until you're about to have a heart attack.
And even then, we might just give you a Z-Pack, but since there's cameras here, we can't do that right now. Ambulance. Ambulance. But it was just so, that's all that was going through my head was this is your job. You suck at your job. Just really bad. You're a medical staff, and I understand, it might take, a person to get warmed up and exercising for some of these symptoms to show. But yeah. I'm just thinking, if that's the case, wouldn't you have them do some kind of quick exercise to...
They'd have to do something, you'd think.
Find this?
You can't just have someone with a fucking heart disease get in the fucking ring, bounce off the ropes, and die in the middle of the ring on TV.
You would think that, but it could happen 3 times on your show. So, and that was the other thing was, okay, I get it. It slipped through the cracks with this one guy, right?
Yeah, you'd think, oh shit, maybe we should put them on a treadmill for a minute before we let the rest go in there and possibly die.
But the fact that this came up 2 more times in the show, after they've already been in the ring exercising, they've been doing all of this stuff, and it comes up 2 more times. Come on, guys, come on. Like, how does that happen? It's
only in the WWE universe.
And it's not like these doctors that are there are like straight out of college and they're green. It's like one of the guys looks like he's in his late 30s, early 40s. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. This is not an intern who just so happened to get a gig at WWE and let it pass by. This is a doctor, or I'm assuming would be the doctor at the Performance Center.
I'm sure the doctors know what they're doing. It's probably fucking WWE telling them to ignore things.
I wouldn't think so. Especially with a lawsuit happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's even more reason. Like, can you imagine, like, CM Punk? Because he's getting sued, because he called this guy a bad doctor. Could you imagine CM Punk's lawyers going, holy shit, guys. Holy shit. Check this out.
And they made it look believable on TV, so a jury might be thinking, hey, these fucking doctors suck. They just let these guys have heart attacks.
Yeah.
Like, one after another.
And that was the other thing, was like, there was a guy that he got all the way to the final group of people that were going to be the cast of the show. So whenever you tune in, I think the show comes on next week. So whenever you tune in next week, this guy is supposed to be one of the cast members of this show. And after he gets to that level, actually this happened to 2 people. After they get to this level, they're like, oh, you didn't pass your medical exams.
What?
Yeah, it's amazing.
So they did perform a medical exam, but they completely missed the fact that these 3 people had irregular heartbeats.
Or whatever it was that, they couldn't wrestle for.
Yeah.
And I understand, medical exams, tests, and that kind of stuff. I get it. It takes time. But you are the WWE.
You fucking go to the zoo as a kid, you need a fucking physical. They can't fucking...
It's like you are the WWE. You are a $1,000,000/billion on paper company. And you're telling me that you are willing to take that kind of risk not once, not twice, but 3 times. They go for that hat trick of 3 times on camera going, our medical exams came in late. And this is a company that has to do medical exams all the time. They do drug tests. They do a lot of this kind of stuff. You would think that they would know the time frame to go, okay, we're going to be filming. We're going to be doing this before anyone gets in the ring. Everyone needs a medical exam taken by our doctors or their doctor, whatever. But the way how it looked like, it was their doctors. And you're telling me that they would not know that we need to do all these a month out?
Yeah.
And if it takes X amount of days, you add another week to it just to make sure that no one slips through the cracks, let alone 3 people. Come on. Amazing.
They're probably like, hey guys, you're the final 40 or however many. We need you to be ready for the show. Here's some Z-Packs.
It's like, get used to this shit.
Just to get your body used to it. Cover all our bases, because we can't have anyone getting sick once the show is on the air. It's all a work, but still.
Yeah,
come on.
That's not the kind of work that you want to be showing when you're involved in a lawsuit regarding your medical staff. Just saying.
And did you hear Michael Cole settled out of court for Brock Lesnar assaulting him?
Oh, really? Really?
Sure. Sure he did.
That's good for Michael Cole, I guess.
Yeah, what? So Michael Cole can sue him, but the other camera guy, F5, he don't get anything?
No, he got his moment on television.
He's not important enough?
No, not at all. You'll see that guy in NXT in about 2 years.
Yeah. Any final words?
Yeah, let's do some quick plugs for us. We now have a Twitter. We are on the Network Pod on Twitter. Our Facebook page on the network. You could always go and check us out on thenetworkpodcast.com. I have had some technical difficulties trying to get it on iTunes / Stitcher. Hopefully our show will be there soon. I'm going to probably be working on that tomorrow or over the weekend for sure. Let's see. You can find us on archive.org, and you can also find us on SoundCloud. If you just search for On the Network, we are there as well. And I believe that you could even download it or stream it from there on your mobile devices using the SoundCloud app. And you could also subscribe to us there. So, yeah, we're branching out slowly.
Yep, sounds good.
All right. I think that's a wrap then, huh?
Yep. We will see you again next Thursday at the ass crack of midnight.
Oh, yeah.
Or whenever we decide to record.
Or rather, whenever you decide to listen.
Yep. All right. Good night.
All right. Good night, guys.
Do you sleep? Do you count sheep anymore? Do you sleep anymore? Do you take blight on my tongue like lead? Do you fall gracefully into bed anymore? I saw you as you walked across my room. You looked out the window. Sat on the corner of my bed, and you smoked with a ghost in the back of my head. Now I don't know, and I don't care if I ever will see you again. I don't know, and I don't care if I ever will be there. Sleep, do you breathe me anymore? Do you sleep, do you keep me anymore? You kick my foot under the table, I kick you back. Can't say I'm able to stand for you or fall for you ever again. Wish for a perfect setting, wishing I'm letting you take me where you want me. All over again. You can give yourself you smoked with a ghost in the back of my head. Do you eat, sleep, do you breathe me anymore? Do you sleep, do you count sheep anymore? Do you sleep anymore?